Hello everybody, my name is Kevin, and I'm back with just a few updates on my life and what's going on. First off, gonna survive Hurricane Matthew this week, this week, tomorrow. It is Wednesday today, October 5th, and tomorrow it's supposed to be on the East Coast, right around the Miami area, or possibly Fort Lauderdale area, around 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And I'll be at work, because the west coast of Florida is like, it's just a tropical storm on this side, but I understand. I mean, you still have all the vehicles driving around. I personally have to drive 30 minutes on the highway, so that's going to be fun. 30 minutes highway, 30 mile an hour, 40 mile an hour winds, possibly, depending on how close the storm gets to us. So we'll see how that goes, and hopefully I'm able to post another video, because I won't be out laying in the road somewhere. Knock on wood. What I wanted to get to today is it's relevant to a topic that I brought up and James brought up in our Off the Mindcast, which was the podcast James and I tried doing over in Fractal Minds World, and it was supposed to be geared around entertainment and video games, anything, everything to do with entertainment. So politics is not entertaining. If anything, it's just fuel to a fire that you don't even realize you have burning inside you, because you realize some of the topics they talk about and debate about is absolutely just idiotic. Again, I'm getting off topic, but the point here is that during our Off the Mind, the reason I brought up the whole politics thing was because that was why we went off the rail a little bit with our podcast, was because Brendan and Alex, as much as we love the guys, they brought up politics all the time. The guys know all kinds of things about politics, and I would love to do a channel with those two. It's just getting them together in the same room. They both have their own goals. Doing a YouTube channel or anything of the sort is not really one of them, though I still think it'd be a fantastic idea, and honestly, why not in the middle of political season? What do I know? Anyways, so that's why we kind of scrapped the podcast idea. When me and James get together, we normally do it pretty well. We might still end up doing another podcast. It's just we're trying to do things again. We're just trying to get back on track recording, but and even then it's not really even trying to get back on track. I'm going in circles, I know, but it's kind of like James has his own goals, music, nothing wrong with that. My goals should be writing. It's not. If anything, I would love to do this channel. I would love to fill my wall alone, but it just comes and goes, Like we take it one day at a time, as cliche as that sounds, but we really do, and hopefully we get the podcast back up with, just James and I, and we talk about entertaining things again. I would still like to do things with the Fractal Minds channel. 111 subscribers, have over 15,000 views with all of our videos combined. There were some pretty incredible feats with that channel. We would like to go back to that. Now, the reason I brought that up is because in one of the podcasts, which I will link, or it will show up somewhere here maybe, or it'll be clickable. It will show up. It'll be here or in the descriptions down below. During one of the podcasts, we had talked about, and I have it right here, April 7th. 2015. We did a podcast on Fractal Minds. It's the 7th episode, or the 7th podcast, and the second to last podcast, so it kind of makes it bittersweet. We never really had any musical guests, or really got to go over music. That's part of the whole entertainment shtick that we wanted to follow, was talk about music. And I think, well, I'm not going to get off topic. Maybe I'll do another recording of why it didn't work out. I've talked about it over time, like over other videos on Fractal Minds, but maybe I'll go over some other more in-depth things later, maybe. But anyways, so we had a musical guest, and we were given permission to play one of their songs, one of their singles from their album. And again, I can't stress it enough, April 13th, 2015. What happened, I was debating whether to play the clip from the podcast, but I won't do that. I'll just link it in the description or make it clickable, like I said. I'll make sure I focus in on, if I can, I'll choose the time of when we start talking about it. So it's an hour, 9 minutes, and 39 seconds in that we bring this up about this band. And basically, we were planning a road trip to Tennessee at the time. And we were talking about songs that, before the podcast, we talked about songs that we were going to play when it was our turn to drive, because we were driving to Tennessee from South Florida. So, because we all live in South Florida, and that it's 7 hours alone just to get out of Florida when you're driving. It's horrible. The topic that was brought up was what songs we would play while driving. And one of the ones I commented, I went on YouTube and I was searching for my own songs to play while I was driving. And there was a song by Arctic Monkeys. I can't remember the name of the song off the top of my head. But I wrote a comment that this was like one of my favorite songs that I'm going to play during my road trip while I drive. And it was just a comment that I wrote. And it's amazing how things work out, because they commented, one of the people, whoever runs their YouTube channel for Rogues on the Sea, that's the name of the band, Rogues on the Sea, they commented on my comment, they replied to my comment and said, check us out, check out our single or our song. And so I did, and they have their single, Fools in Love, on their YouTube channel. So I went and gave it a listen, and I really enjoyed it. It was an excellent song. I had never heard of the band before, and I was very surprised by the song. So I told James, and James is a music junkie. So he went on Spotify. I'm not sure if it's still free to this day on Spotify, but he went on to Spotify and listened to their entire album, and he enjoyed the entire album. His favorite song from that, according to the podcast, is City of Gold. And so I mentioned, after I got permission from them to play the song on our podcast, so we gave him some props. Unfortunately, it was buried into an hour and 41 minute long podcast, and it was buried at the 1 hour 9 minute mark. And so I don't think they got the views. I mean, we only got 31 views on the podcast to begin with, and it's really a shame because this band, I think, deserves so much more. Whoever runs their Twitter, it's just Rogues in the Sea. It's very ambiguous, which isn't anonymous. I don't know if ambiguous, anonymous. I don't know if they're synonymous. Haha. Whoever it was I've been talking to, I told them, hey, actually I think I may have messaged them, and I said, hey, is there a way that I could get some, like, a signed copy or anything like that? You know, I was really digging them. I wanted to show them support, and having a signed copy of something, I mean, why not? I mean, I obviously collect things, so why not have a signed copy of an album? So I figured I'd ask. I mean, since I was in contact with someone from the band, I figured it wasn't like, you know, AC/DC. I'm not talking to their publicist who will never get to me. So the person I've been talking to messaged me back and said, sure, I'll send you a signed copy. I haven't seen the drummer in a while, because I guess they don't live too close together, or the drummer's out working. I can't exactly remember the details, but he was very, very polite about it, and I say I'm pretty sure it's one of the members of the band that I've been talking to. And he said that once he sees the drummer, he's going to get me a signed copy of their album and send it out to me. And I mean, after a while, like, it drug on, and I obviously had to buy an album. He told me in order to get a signed copy, I'd have to buy one, so I bought one. It cost like $30 some odd because they're in Australia, And that's one of the reasons I think they might be buried a little bit, is because they're in Australia, and they're not in any of the big music cities, not that I think of, unless they're close to Sydney, which I hope you know opera. The person I've been talking to told me I had to buy an album in order to get a signed copy. You know, they got to make a little bit of money, and it costs money to send it from Australia. It's pretty darn expensive. So he sent me a link, and I clicked on it. It was a legit website, like a store out in Australia, or maybe it was an online store based out of Australia, one of the two. And they had the album on there, and I bought it, and it was like $35 because a lot of it was shipping. The shipping from Australia is pretty expensive. I think it might have been like $10 or $15 or something like that. So I waited around, and I got my album that I bought. And the album I was buying was not the signed copy. It was just they were getting money from it, and from that they had their own copies of their album, obviously, and they were going to sign one of those. So technically I was going to get 2 albums. I was going to get a regular one that I bought, and then another one from this very awesome person who was going to send it to me in the mail. We waited, and I got a little disgruntled because I was like, it was more like I got my hopes up. I mean, it's a signed autograph album. I did get a little down on myself a little bit, and I actually messaged them and said, hey, you know, if you did want to give me a signed one, you know, I was being really babyish, to be honest. I was being kind of typical American, instant gratification. Hey, you know, and I think I did wait like a month or 2 months or something. I was like, hey, I've been very patient. And they said, hey, we didn't forget about you. Again, drummer. And not to like blame the drummer, nothing bad with the drummer. It was just he was busy. And so, anyways, the point of the story is that finally, he checked up on me. This person on Rogues in the Sea on Twitter kept checking up on me. Hey, how's it going? Checking on my life. You know, how's everything? And just give me an update that, you know, they planned on seeing he's planning on seeing the drummer. He's going to get the album signed. And this went all the way up to a year later. And 2 weeks ago, I got a message on Twitter again, because like I said, it's been, and it was actually, I want to say like March or April was the last time I heard from Rogues in the Sea. And March or April of this year, so that's a year later from the podcast. And so here I am 2 weeks, I think it was 2 weeks ago that they contacted me and said, hey, I hope you're doing well. Actually, I'm gonna pull up the Twitter message real quick. I'm gonna read verbatim what I got. It was September 13th. So that was more than 2 weeks ago. It's October 5th, like I said. It's October 5th now. So September 13th, message me. Hi Kevin, long time. Ha. I know, it's been like a year, and it's been over a year, but again, I find it funny. I'm not like being, this is so cool. I know it's been a year, and you've probably forgotten completely about this, but I haven't. I'm a man of my word, so I finally caught up with our drummer yesterday and got him to sign the CDs. So I'm sending them tomorrow. One thing I forgot to mention was that this person felt so bad about me not receiving them after a year that he started promising me more than one album, signed both copies, and just promising me so much stuff. And I'm floored. It is such a nice gesture to... I really can't, I don't have the words, like I'm speechless. Let me just finish, okay, because like I said, they're promising the world all kinds of things. He sends me a photo of a package with my address on it, saying, you're still living there, right? I hope so. Tells me they're recording a new album in the next couple weeks with their new sound, and you know, he's promising me, you know, the world. And like, I would love to see this band, honestly, here in Florida. We have all those different music festivals that James partakes in. Just here in South Florida, we have concerts all the time with this more like indie rock, punk rock. It's definitely, if you like the Arctic Monkeys, that's their first album. That's their sound, basically. and they are such a good band that like they're such a. I'm running out of words here. Like it's just I can't describe. I don't have the words to describe how thankful I am for what they have done. Because I got a message 2 weeks ago about these albums, about he sent me a photo of the package with my address on it, and came through. There's no other way to say it. He came through. Last week I was sick, as I kind of posted last week on my Dolphins video, so I couldn't, like, I received his last week. I feel bad because I didn't message the guy back. I almost feel like I'm ungrateful. But I did receive him last week in great condition. The packaging was great. 2 albums. I got 2 albums. And on the inside of both of them, it's like a Loot Crate unboxing almost. So I'm going to read what they wrote. Thanks for your patience, Kevin, and thank you for listening. And at the risk of butchering their names, there's their signatures of the band members. And the second one is written, thanks, Kevin. Can't wait to show you the new stuff. And again, signed by all 3 members. I mean, again, I honestly have no words to describe how thoughtful this is, how thankful I am. It is a very touching gesture, and I will remember it. And I'm more than happy to give you a shout out on this channel. I mean, I don't really have anybody to shout you out to. I'll shout you out on the Fractal Minds channel as well. Like I said, this is awesome. It's amazing. I recommend anybody who watches this, who's able to see this, to please go check out their album. And please, like, it's Rogues on the Sea. I just read a comment. It said, they posted a free song, a song for free that you can listen to, and it says, money for music, now you're just being plain silly, ha. I mean, these guys seem really genuine, and you made me speechless. Thank you, guys. I can't thank you enough. I highly recommend listening to their album, buying their album. Buy it. Support them. I don't care if they don't want your money. Give them your money. Throw the money at them. And support them. Get their ass over here in the States. And I see they've gained some popularity. They only have 3,500 likes on their Facebook page. And one of the things that really intrigues me is that I see a post from a visitor from Hot FM Radio in Phoenix. So I can only hope it's a radio station in Phoenix, Arizona, I hope, that is going to start playing their music, and maybe it'll start to spread. And I'll go, I knew them before they were popular. But anyways, again, I can't say thank you enough. I'm obviously speechless. This is the kindest thing. I would have said thank you earlier, but I was sick last week, and I will play one of their songs at the end of this video. And again, I can't explain, or I can't, you broke all my vocabulary. I can't say it enough. Buy their Mother album. I'm going to leave it here because I can't think of anything else to say that is going to add anything to this video other than thank you guys, thank you. And I will see you all next time if I make it through this hurricane. My name is Kevin, and I'll see you next time in the bubble.
now.